Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamisha, also known as Mrs. Coda. So we are going to talk about 5 things to consider before you work in a skilled nursing facility. All right, so this is going to be a nice juicy topic because this is right up my alley. If you are interested in knowing more, definitely stay tuned. All right, so the first thing you want to consider is patient population, right? So skilled nursing facilities, you are going to be working with the geriatric population. Yes, you are going to be working with seniors, right? I had one therapist made a joke and say to me, hey, shower an hour, shower an hour. And I'm like, shower an hour? And this is before I started working in a skilled nursing facility. Of course, I knew that I was going to be working with older adults, but the whole joke of a shower hour is that, you're constantly doing ADLs, or at least the focus is going to be on ADLs. So you're going to be doing a lot of showers and bathing and dressing and all that stuff. But just know that what you're going to be expecting when you go into a skilled nursing facility is that you're going to be working with older adults. So you got to be comfortable working with seniors and everything that comes with that aging process. The second thing you need to consider is the workload and the pace. Okay. You are going to be working with a lot of patients, okay, that have complex medical history, and you need to be able to keep up with that demand, right? So your workload, you're going to have to first treat your patients, but you're also going to have to do your documentation on top of that, all right? And it is usually, I'm going to say usually, it is very fast paced. Okay, so you have to consider that before you decide to work in skilled nursing facility, that do not expect a slow paced environment. Now, not to say that you can't find skilled nursing facilities that's a little bit more relaxed, because census does drop and that gives you a little time period where it slows down. But for the most part, you're probably going to have, I would say in an 8-hour day, you're probably looking at maybe 10 plus patients within an 8-hour day. All right. So that is very important that you understand that you are going into an environment where there is going to be quite a bit of demand and you're dealing with patients that have complex medical history. It's not just cookie cutter cut, just one diagnosis. No, they may have hypertension, they may have asthma, they may have other deficits that they're facing, maybe memory loss. On top of that, they're prone for falls, and then they're seeing you because maybe they had a hip replacement, right? So those are all the things you have to consider when you're working with a patient in a skilled nursing facility. Okay, so the third thing you need to consider, and I kind of mentioned this in the second thing to consider, but the third thing you need to consider is documentation, right? There is quite a bit of documentation because you need to do your daily notes, and as a CODA, you need to do your progress notes, right? If you are OTR, you need to do daily notes, progress notes, evaluations, discharges, and complete and finish insurance forms. Pretty similarly, CODAs will do, their daily notes, progress notes. They'll collaborate with discharges and evaluation, but really the brunt of that work is the OTR. So now you want to consider, on top of patient care, you have a lot of documentation you need to do. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that your documentation is good. So you don't want to just write 1 sentence or 2 sentences. You want to make sure that you are detailed and efficient with your documentation style. That's very, very important. All right. The fourth thing you want to consider before you start working in a skilled nursing facility is the collaborative work. All right. You are not just working with your patients only. You will be working with physical therapy, speech therapy, the social workers, the nursing aides, nursing staff, administrators, directors, right? You are going to be working with vendors. Maybe you need to get a splint for patients, so you need to be able to know how to talk with vendors. So it's quite a bit. It's honestly, guys, I can tell you the truth. It is a really good career, but the burnout level can be very, very high. So this is why it's important that you take time for yourself after work, you relax, you meditate, maybe you go out and you do a hobby that you enjoy just to decompress the day. Sleep is vital. Try to get as much sleep as you possibly can. But yes, you will be working with other people. An interdisciplinary team is what we like to call it. So you need to be able to you need to be able to deal with different kinds of personalities and expect to be able to talk amongst different groups of people and have an idea and understanding of what their role is pertaining to this patient care. And then lastly, the fifth thing you want to consider is the regulation and the compliance when you're working within a skilled nursing facility, right? There's rules and regulations of every job. When it comes to skilled nursing facilities, for example, restraints, there's certain things you cannot do with your patients, right? If you have a demented patient, you can't just put a seatbelt on them and walk away and be like, okay, that's going to keep them, because rules and compliance regulations are constantly shifting and changing. Before, in the past, it was okay to use seatbelts, and I think even some facilities may even still be doing that. I know if you are using a seatbelt, the patient should be able to take it off themselves. If they're unable to kind of manipulate it and take it off themselves, that is considered a restraint, right? Another example is having the bar up to keep a patient in the bed. That is also considered like a restraint, right? So now, to kind of get around that, what facilities are doing for patients that have the tendency of either getting out of bed or falling out of bed, they're putting the bed completely low on the ground, and then they're putting a mat. So if they were to roll out of bed, they'll be on top of the mat. If they were to try to get out of bed, the mat would be there, which would make it a lot harder for them to get up and walk around, right? So these are the things you need to consider, and you need to learn the regulations. You need to learn the compliance of your skilled nursing facility, what you can and cannot do within this population. So I know this might seem like a lot, but you know what? Once you start working, it just all flows together. Like I said, I primarily just focus on skilled nursing facility because I really do like working with my geriatric population. So I would tell you that it's still a great career, but just make sure you take care of yourself, especially using especially using proper body mechanics, because I know that injuries can happen, especially when you're dealing with low-level patients and you have a lot of them on your schedule. All right, guys, and so if you like this video, definitely go ahead and comment below. Give me your thoughts. Let me know. Do you want to work in a skilled nursing facility? If not, what setting do you want to work in? All right, and until next time, guys, see you later.